Hi, my name is Akash. Thank you so much, Mr. Weeman, for choosing me as your consultant. Let's get straight into your SWOT analysis. So that's going over your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So for strengths, one of the strengths is that since you're minimizing operating expenses by using the business learning model, there is no rental expense or any other expenses associated with a regular business. So the only expenses associated is like salaries expense, which that's with any business. So also profit margins are also assumed to be between 5 and 10%. As mentioned before, you're minimizing your operating expenses. So it's really great to see that. There's also an exponential increase in sales, meaning that the business growth is a feasible idea in the short run. This is the case as an increase in sales means increasing clientele and demand increasing out of the local area. So this is actually really great to see as well, which also supports my idea of the company having a profit margin of between 5 and 10%. Since the employees are mainly high school students, the salary expense is relatively low as well, which, as mentioned before, your profit margins and the overall company's worth is actually greater, as mentioned before. And due to the entire business model revolving around the online segment, it also means that it's a major convenience for your target market, which is high school students, which is great to see. Since the target market is mainly high school students, it does create a larger target market, and it's a lot easier for your clientele to, you know, pursue this tutoring center or continue coming. Some of the weaknesses that I noticed is that since there was a growth from 300,000 to 700,000 sales over such a short period of time, it means that there's been an increase in clientele. And assuming that your employment has not increased, it could mean that your quality of work, like service, is decreasing, which may affect your brand image negatively. And in order for the business growth, an outside investor would also have an overall decrease in profit as the investor would take a portion of the overall profit and then minus your expenses, etc. Your profit may decrease. And then, as mentioned before, there may be a shortage of employees, resulting in quality of service decreasing, which that's just something to keep in mind. Some of the opportunities would be like with an outside investor, the boost of capital may result in expansion being a lot easier as you have that support from your investor. Due to the exponential growth of the company, it's easier to increase the valuation of the company. So the valuation of the company is currently $2 million, but due to the circumstances we're in currently, like COVID-19 and then the new variant Omicron, I can assume that your company valuation will continue to increase as your demand increases, which is something to keep in mind. Um, and then it's also a lot easier to get potential partnerships or even joint ventures would be like a viable option. So, for example, if the tutoring business continues to increase at the rate at which it's increasing, it'll be easier to create a joint venture with like a Peel Region School District Board, etc. As you have that level of you have that level of reassurance, or you have that brand image already established. Some threats I've noticed is other companies may try and use ideas or implement them in the business. So it's very important to show that you're the pioneer of this business model. So by doing this, it's to basically make a very strong marketing campaign. So this could be through establishing a social media network through Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, etc. So by using TikTok, you could create like videos showing like how the e-learning model is working, like your satisfied customers, etc., which would be something really great, which I've actually seen a lot of companies do. Also, a word of mouth, have your service really good. So a word of mouth marketing just happens naturally. For example, I currently go to a math tutor where the service is like really good that majority of his marketing just comes from word of mouth marketing. So that's something to just keep in mind. A sudden increase in demand may result in employee satisfaction decreasing due to working overtime to meet deadlines or responsibilities, and quality of service provided also decreasing, resulting in the brand image being affected negatively. So by increasing employment to keep up with demand, it will result in a it will result in overall satisfaction increasing and a increasing returns to scale economic business model instead of diminishing returns. It's just to um, keep the brand image consistent of like positively. Kumon and other firms may also be a threat as they have an established brand image, and if they were to implement this learning or this business model, there's a chance that your customers or clientele may switch over to Kumon as they already have an established brand image. So, as mentioned before, by having a strong marketing campaign and by establishing a solid um, target audience or market or like your customers, it will make sure that you're basically a magnet and you hold all your customers. Moving on, so see that you're a little bit curious about a term sheet. So a term sheet is basically a non-binding agreement that shows the basic terms and conditions of an investment. It's for legal reasons, just to jot down. It's basically like a contract, just putting evidence on paper. So taking this account, it's very important to consider both deals. So in deal number one, you're losing 20% stake in the company. The company is currently valued at $2 million, and knowing that the company is going to grow exponentially due to the current circumstances of COVID, it means that the sales and company will continue to grow as well. So as the company grows, the 20% loss in equity may result in great profits being removed from the overall profit. So for example, if your sales grow to $1 million annually, that 20% like investment from your investor may result in a $200,000 deduction annually, which would just keep that in mind. So basically your profit margins would decrease, and it's I wouldn't recommend it, as you already have an increase in salaries expense to keep up with demand. In deal number two, it's 100,000 with a 9% PIK interest. So a PIK interest rate is basically a payment in kind interest. So this is through stocks, equity. So it's basically paying back interest in a non-cash form. So basically in this deal, 100,000 is borrowed from the investor. In 3 years, you have to pay 9% PIK interest on that $100,000. And then after the 3 years, the investor has 3% equity stake, which tends to be a better overall deal because after that 100,000 is paid off in PIK, so payment in kind, so that 100,000 is paid back in not cash form. The investor only has a 3% equity stake, whereas the other deal has 20%. So it means that in this deal, you have a 97-3, you own 97% of the company still. So if you did want to get any other investors on board, you won't lose a big substantial amount of your company. So that's something just keep in mind. So in deal number one, the 20% is constant. So if you had $1 million, 200,000 would go to your investor. Whereas if you had $1 million on the first option, then more like 30,000 would go towards your investor. So just keep that in mind. Also, I also see that you're interested in the blue ocean marketing, the blue ocean strategy. So the blue ocean strategy consists of five key factors: creating an uncontested market space, make the competition irrelevant, create and capture new demand, break the value cost trade-off, align the whole system of firm activities in pursuit of like low cost. So at the moment, I can see that EDU Nation is following 60% of the blue ocean strategy. So this means that the three of these five factors, as they're currently capturing new demand through this new business learning model, as I don't see a lot of tutoring places using this business model. So it's great to see that you're capturing new demand, you're becoming a pioneer in this space. It's also great to see that you're trying to achieve low cost through using this online business model, as the current expense is only wages or like salaries expense, and to make the competition irrelevant. So your current competition, I would say, is Kumon, as they're the most established. So by making them irrelevant, by establishing a more convenient business model for your customers or your clientele, it makes Kumon look a little bit more irrelevant, and you getting more demand, more customers, making your company a little bit better. So overall, I would say go with deal two. And if you have any questions, please feel free to let me know. Thank you so much.